And Mr. OBP says it's showtime, so I don't know. Let's see. I think it is. I think he's correct.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Greetings to you.
Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
Oh, yes, an oldie but goodie. We own the copyrights to the Jingle Singer, so we can play them all day on Google, YouTube, and not get one of those infractions. Hello, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network, live and direct somewhere. It might be on your radio at 27085 megahertz. In the Central Valley of California, perhaps you are listening on your Universal Media Net web device at oldtuberadio.net, or you have the video screen that is showing the REA meters. Let's see, what are about 120 positive peaks and 95% negative peaks. Thanks for joining us tonight here on OTR, where we try to promote the use and distribute information about citizen band radio Class D stuff, especially that glow-in-the-dark item, which you will be hearing from tonight when we start glowing in the dark. First, of course, we check in with our shortwave listeners, the SWLs, some of you who may have old tube radios of your own, some of you who, I don't know, maybe you've never been on the CB radio at all and you're just tuning in or watching, and that's okay as well. Everybody is welcome. We have been doing this on the air Saturday evenings for about 35 years. And my name is Dennis. I'm one of the many net controllers that has been on the Old Tube Radio network. I am bringing out the SWL list. It is 9/5/2020, September 5th. It's probably going to be a very mellow, mild net tonight, as I think a lot of people are taking it easy. Temperatures here in the Central Valley of California are going up to record high temperatures, a little bit unusual for this time in September, as we are expecting probably temperatures in the 110 range tomorrow with low humidity. And unfortunately, there is a fire raging about 50 miles to the east and the north, and hopefully that will not get too far out of hand. We'll maybe get some check-ins from some stations up there tonight if they are still around. I will look at the various boards, bulletin boards here, to acknowledge your comments and say hello when I can. But first, let's go ahead and get the radios and SWLs checked in, starting with SWL 00.
Yeah, 000 now. I don't know about the cars on the back door up there. Anyway, check in.
Okay, Paul, we'll hear you. Yeah, the fire is above you a little bit. I know we have a couple of stations that check in from Shaver, which is one of the areas that may be evacuated, so we'll see how they're doing tonight. Anyway, you are sounding good. I'm curious to see what's on the plate tonight or on the radio table, and thanks for getting us started off. And if you want to know if you checked in, check the checking in SWL thing as we go across, and I'll try and keep that updated and correct as things happen, like SWL number 1, one of the guys that started this thing ever so long ago, getting the cosmic check-in. Another one of those dudes, SWL number 2, Mr. OBP, who is waving a hand from the video page tonight, checking into the net. I'm just seeing if he had any info on sunspots. It is official. I think they're saying that the cycle 24 minimized or went out the door in December of 2019, and cycle 25 is getting off to a slow start, but a start nonetheless. OBP, you got you checked in. How about SWL 3? SWL 4? SWL 5, Ida, Mama Rose, one of the net controllers from long ago. Saw her earlier in the week, and she says, say hello to all the Old Tube Radio Network people and SWLs and who else. So I will do that. Or I guess I just did that. Next is SWL 6. SWL 7.
SWL 7 checking in.
7 is checking in. Looking good on the meter as always, and sounds like you are warming up the radio, to be checked in. Sounding good. Okay, I'm going to make a few switches here to make sure everything is working. Then we jump up to SWL 13. If you can get in to do it, you can check in either via the video chat, or there is a comment window at oldtuberadio.net that I can occasionally get into and see who is out there listening. So I'll look for your check-ins there. Over to SWL 14, SWL 15, shortwave listeners 16, SWL 17.
17 checking in.
SWL 17. I think I heard you earlier when I was tuning up here, stirring up the pot for the to open the skip window. So it seemed to work. You're sounding good. We got you checked in.
All right, thank you.
I'm putting the X's in the wrong boxes here. It says some of you are checked in for next week already. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm on the right page now. Over to SWL 18. And I've got Mikey, Mr. KDA, checked in from Facebook. SWL 19, 14047, the ever-popular Derby, New York, helping us get set up. I think everything went well. We didn't have any major disasters as we were doing the setup earlier today, so I'm hopeful that things will last at least for the next 2 hours, get us through the radio check-ins. Over to SWL 20. And Harvey said that I should proxy him in, but he might be in later. Also, remember that when Harvey, when he jumps on the net tonight, to remember to wish him a happy birthday. SWL 20 is having a birthday tonight, so maybe he's out celebrating. I hope he doesn't have to work too long tonight. Next, we go over to SWL 21. Mr. JT and his group from the Wasama Swamps in South Carolina, fresh off his engagement from Old Radio Night, where tonight and I don't know if it's a radio he just recently purchased or he found it in the box in the closet, but a really cool, and I remember these. I remember these radios, the SBE Trinidad, top of the line. You want to have one, if you can't get that FT101 back in the day, you might as well settle for an SBE Trinidad. That was the radio tonight. Let me see if I can dial in on just what the Old Radio Night sounds like here. Let me see if I can get rid of me.
Destination of BYU. Come on back and holler for White Dog.
Hey, BYU 76, south of South Carolina, waving. 76, sounding good out here in the BYU.
Not bad.
41.
Come back at you there, White Dog. I know.
Yeah, JT's got a bodacious station there. Everybody hears him.
Hey, BYU, you know somebody's out there named Plum Crazy? This is 929 by over there.
And he hears everybody else. I wish I could figure out how to do that here on OTR. Mr. JT, you are checked in and always sounding good on Old Radio Night. That happens Saturday evenings before this program. I often see his channel selector on Channel 12. So if you are somewhere in the Wasama Swamp area, South Carolina, fire up on Channel 12, check out the video, and give JT a DD21 a call. Over to SWL 22. SWL 23. That's Mitch. I'll go through the list here, see who's out there. SWL 24. Shortwave listener 25.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in.
Okay, I hope you have a beverage of choice. The pool is handy and it's not too excruciatingly hot in the Radio Shack tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, Yeah, no problem, Dennis. The air's a little thick and smoky. Other than that, we're just fine. Anyway, back to you.
Back to me in the studio. All right, yeah, we'll see. If the wind doesn't change tonight, we'll probably be okay. But usually at night, we start getting the wind coming from the east, so that could blow in a lot of smoke. Let's see, before we go to page 2, let me say hello to Albert and the gang. Saying hello from Squamish, BC, waving various and sundry hands, no doubt. On the big board over at oldtuberadio.net, hello to up in the down in the front row tonight, Derby, New York, as always, keeping an eye out to troubleshoot anything that may go wrong tonight. Millmay, New Jersey, I think that's Crazy Bob out there doing the DJ thing. Hello to Boston. Glad you are in tonight. Temecula, San Francisco, I think that's X4000. Somerville, South Carolina, just said hello to you. Centerville, Virginia, coming up to you. Squamish, hello again. Hubert, North Carolina. Woodland Park, Colorado, is always waiting for that DX to happen. The unknown SWL. There's a couple of you out there tonight, so keep those paper bags on your head. Bothell, Washington, I think that's our, will be coming up to you. Dallas, Georgia, coming up to you. Jamestown, South Carolina, and Canby, Oregon, coming up to you on the big board. We'll go over to the video side here in a little bit. OTR, of course, the tube radios will be happening. Let's try SWL 27. And I do see the crossband radio is on. SWL 28. It's our Idaho stations. Don't see Chrissy and Dwayne. They might be in. They might be out doing some holiday stuff. We've got a proxy check-in for Mr. Loner, SWL 29. And we'll keep an eye out for 28 and 30. I'll check the video side here quickly, shortly. SWL 31. Not sure if they are back in the QTH main station or not tonight. I'll keep an eye out for Robert and Teresa, who are out scouring the U.S. for tube radios last week. SWL 32. SWL 33. Myself, Bozo Control, the Jingle Singers, whoever else is over in the green room tonight. SWL 34. Shortwave listener 35. I did see Mr. Bill checking in from Cheyenne. Bill, I hope if you're done with the vacation, I know it's probably too short, but I hope you're back in Cheyenne and everything went well and all the stuff is waiting for you, right? The Red Monkey trailer is waiting and ready to go. So I hope it is in good shape. Thanks for listening in. Let's try SWL 36. SWL 37.
SWL 37, good evening, Tom. Dennis.
And hello, radio from Midtown Fresno. I've got you checked in over.
Okay, that's all I need to know, and I'll be here for something else.
All right, and we will be here until at least 10 o'clock tonight, talking about and checking in those tube radios from 1958, Class D, although we will take any 11-meter. If you've got an 11-meter position on your radio and there's tubes in it, don't be afraid to give us a call. We'll get you checked in. There is 11 meters, and then there's Class D 11 meters. We focus on the Class D, which was the produced 11-meter CB, citizen band type radios. You will hear them coming up tonight. Let's look for SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40.
SWL 40 checking in from Chinatown at 90.3 degrees.
90.3. Yeah, it went down. It was 102, 103, and it's going to be maybe 110 tomorrow, so it's good. You know, I wanted to be in OTR uniform, but I didn't put on the 1950s seersucker jacket, but I do have the official OTR net control shirt and the appropriate wonky tie, so I'm halfway there. There is no pocket, so the pocket protector is getting a week off. Thanks, Larry, for checking in. And right where I need to look, right over there. Road Dog 507 checking in, SWL 41. Also, Worldwide Signbander 507 and Alpha Charlie 244. I've been neglecting my Alpha Charlie duties, listening in on lower 16, although the band really hasn't been that great. From the Hudson Valley of New York, waving a hand. Thank you, 507. We've got you checked in. How about SWL 42? Okay, there was no audio there, but I bet I know. I bet I know what was said into that microphone. So I will get 42 and the gang checked in. SWL 43. Shortwave listener 44. Hey, I hear you. And the gray line skip that we were having sort of died down. So maybe you're hearing me as well up there in the 360 land. Thank you. And over to the guy that got us started off as 00, if you are still there, Paul, SWL 45.
Yeah, we're still here. Sounded good, yeah. You got an interface radio here up there.
Okay, be interested to see what that radio is. I got a big signal. The audio is a little on the undermodulated side, but the signal is big, and we'll talk about that radio coming up. SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47.
Well, I'm going to give you a moment to mute your microphones, but turn your cameras on. And welcome to this evening's Microsoft Teams class meeting. This evening's discussion is going to be old tube radios. And I'd like to say greetings from the Radio Lounge. OTR, you may unmute your microphone and say hello.
All right, hello. All of us who went kicking and screaming into the Zoom world, and I think Mike is probably a pro by now, having to do a lot of it. Methinks. I have done my fair share starting things off, and I'm starting to get the hang of it. But yes, the mic mute or unmute or muting when you shouldn't can really mess you up. Sounding good, and I've got you checked in. Over.
Thank you so much. And yes, everyone's audio is much better in the AM mode versus the online mode. So good evening.
Yeah, you got to love that. That's at least 6 kilohertz wide amplitude modulation, where the digital stuff is not that digital. Sounding good. Thanks for checking it. SWL 48. Sam sometimes checks in on Facebook. If you check in on the Facebook, I will eventually see that and get you checked in. Let's see. I think I heard a precursor of this station with the what sounded like the HLR audio, SWL 49.
Well, a great big hello there, Dennis. The Gold Miner 49ers checking in, and hey, we're waving our hands in all directions. Wishing you guys a good night. Hope you're having a good evening. We're having a damn fine evening here as we're celebrating our 44th birthday. Got a sweet country mama waving her hand from the kitchen there where she's cooking up a steak dinner for me, and we are just counting the seconds. Can't wait for that. So, hey, as always, we appreciate the check-in, Dennis, and hope I find everybody in good health here. So, thank you.
I think most of us are doing the best we can. Audio sounds great. Happy birthday to you. You and Harvey have birthdays today, along with possibly some others of you out there watching, or maybe when you're watching this 2 years from now. It is your birthday. So happy birthday. Radio is sounding good. I always like having a little bit of HLR audio, so we can here on the West Coast, we can let the stations on the East Coast know that we know how to make our radio sound good when we want to. Thanks, Brian, and got you checked in, and also sweet country mama way over there. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, thank you much, and a very happy birthday to you, Harvey. I'll have to practice my Mr. Tim Tron impression there. Take care, Dennis.
All right, well, you're doing okay. Sometimes, as you know, Tim can get a little on the wacky side, so we appreciate you you toning it down for OTR. Next, we go up to Mark, SWL 50. SWL 51.
SWL 51, checking in.
SWL 51. The AM voice, the sideband voice, and maybe the FM voice of Sanger. We've got you checked in, Dave.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good evening.
SWL 52. And SWL 53.
Go ahead and proxy in 53.
I will do that. If he shows up live and direct, we'll make sure that we get him. Before we go to page 3, let me check. There's a whole bunch of items over on the... Oops. Oh, that's interesting. I hit a wrong button, and things just went crazy. So let me do that and then go back, because I wanted to... Oh, boy. I'm in some weird mode here. Here we go. All right. On the video side... Paul is in. The station from South Carolina, Bravo Alpha Oscar, was in early, talking about what's happening on 80 meters. Okay, I'm in a weird mode. This is going there. Private Thor is in. Hello to you, DD21, of course. There is Kenny is in. We'll get you checked in, Kenny. Don't go away. Charlie Hustle 55 from Baltimore. Thanks to you. Private Thor is also in on the video side. Popcorn 913. Are we going to have popcorn tonight? Maybe. Also, Gary. Where are you at, Gary? He's in Sacramento, staying off the roads. Okay. He's back from his trip to the South State. Hope all went well there. He's going to sit back and enjoy the show in front of his Robin T123B. We'll see if we get any Robins checking in tonight. And there is Mr. Luke Craig is listening in, saying that he is got some internet problems as usual. He's got his friend Jeff up in Fish Camp, near Yosemite, sending him some scary shots of the Shaver and the Huntington Fire. Wow. And Greg is an outdoor kind of guy. Spent many summers up there. He wanted to check in and say hello, but we will see what happens with the internet connection tonight. Pop in when you can, Greg, and we will hopefully have some interesting items. We always have interesting items of interest. That's from the Department of Redundancy Department. Let's go over to page 3. SWL 54 gets the cosmic check-in. SWL 55.
I feel like Gary Busey. I'm kind of here. I'm here, kind of.
Yeah, we were thinking about you. I know you are close to an evacuation zone, so I hope you are able to actually stay safe and sane and are prepared to do whatever it is that you need to do. Over.
Safe, yes. Sane, maybe.
All right. Well, good luck to you. We got a lot of people pulling for good things to happen out that way, and I'm surprised. Thanks for checking in, and hopefully all will go well.
Hopefully. Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, and I hope my computer isn't crashing here. It's doing some very, very strange things. So I'm going to take a moment here.
Station.
And we'll go ahead with the station. The station, go ahead.
This is SWL 93. Check me in when my number comes up. I'm just out of breath tonight, so I'm catching up. So just do me right, and when my number comes up, just mark an X there, please.
I will do that. Your number is coming up soon. The air quality is bad, and it's going to get worse, so definitely take it easy. Do not exert yourself. Thank you for jumping into the Old Tube Radio Net tonight, and we will get you checked in. Stay safe and take care. Over.
All right, check. Thank you much, Dennis, and good evening to all the SWLs out there in 73, and Louis clear.
Take care, Louis, and hang in there.
Way to go, Louis.
I'm going to go way down and try to recoup my oxygen level back up. I'm just totally out of breath.
All right, Louis, if you can listen in while you're relaxing, that's fine. If not, we've got you checked in.
Thank you much, Dennis, and we're clear.
And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark, the SWL roll call, Tube Radios to follow. We are looking for SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis from the net, 56. No fires to report.
Okay, well, hopefully, if there are any, you'll be able to handle them over there. You have a large crew. Sometimes they may be a little small in stature to to do a lot, but when you have a lot of numbers. Strength in numbers is what it is. So we will see. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 57, Brown Dog Audio, Worldwide Sidebander 1942 from Central Kentucky. Don't see him in there just yet, so I'll keep an eye out. Over to SWL 58.
Go ahead, proxy in 58 there. I think he's busy.
Okay, I don't know if he's a volunteer firefighter, but that would definitely be keeping him busy. But we'll get Jeremy checked in from the Biola-Kerman fault line. Thanks. Wow, and the computer is doing wacky stuff. So if all the digital stuff goes away, stand by. But so far, so good. I'm treading lightly here. Over to SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thanks, Dennis, and happy Labor Day to all the fellas out there. Let's get old Jerry's base checked in. Big Jake's base, I should say. The DX2527.
We will do that. 2527 radio. Put a check mark and an X in the square. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, refreshing the screens and looking for SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
61, hello, Dean. We've got you checked in here, sounding good on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, maybe my flash is finally dying here. SWL 62. SWL 63. Mark your home games that you should be putting an X in the square for none other than the North Georgia, the voice of North Georgia, Butterbean, who has been listening in to this network at oldtuberadio.net and other areas for quite some time. So it's about time we get him officially checked in. Although, of course, this is not a club or anything like that. No special handshakes or dues. Stop by any time. You don't even ever have to have keyed up a radio. We're glad that you are stopping by and enjoying our tube radio operators, what they have to offer tonight. Butterbean, thanks for getting checked in and looking good over at Old Radio Night tonight. Over to SWL 64. SWL 65.
I guess I'll proxy him, please, Dennis.
All right, we'll do that. I was wondering if he was going to be out there or not. We'll get him proxied in. Hopefully he is able to manage all the calamities up there. Thank you.
Thank you.
SWL 66. SWL 67 from Canby, Oregon. You're listening in, Bill. Bravo, India, Lima, Lima. As they say on those other bands, Bill, thanks for jumping in. I don't know, 25, cycle 25, I know. I bet when we start getting into the cooler weather, you'll hear us floating in on some E propagation. Over to SWL 68. SWL 69, Kenny, I saw you on the board. Saying hello from Tulsa. Glad you are staying up late with us tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network, and we do have you checked in. I just got to be real careful what I click on here, or I'm going to send this whole net thing into oblivion. Let's go to SWL 70. And I'm going to get Mark checked in. He may still be doing the QRP thing out there. So just in case, I'm going to listen. Everybody listen for SWL 70. Hello, Mark. Over, over. And I don't know where he was camping. I hope it is not anywhere close to the fires. I don't think it was. So I just wanted to pause. Sometimes if he's close enough, he might try some QRP, which he's doing. I'll look for him on 40 meters and 20 meters, I think, is what he said he was going to be doing. He was have antennas for that, maybe 10 meters. SWL 71, hey, Stan, you made it back onto the big board. I see you, Mr. Announcer. Checking in. Good deal. Up there in Dallas, Georgia, in Foreland. We have a lot of Foreland stations that check in with us. Hope to catch you guys and gals on the big shortwave radio some point when I get all the station back together here. Let's go to Eric in Clovis, SWL 72. All right, nothing heard from Eric, SWL 73.
Let's give that 73 a proxy.
Done for Mr. M.I. SWL 74. And I will get 74. Miss Julie checked in from the earlier check-in from 25. SWL 75. SWL 77.
And good evening to all the listeners. 73s to the SWLs and 77 on the Tower Power in the Tower District. Checking in.
All right, we've got you checked in. Trying to keep my screen from blowing up here. Boy, that is doing weird stuff. The radio's sounding good. You've got the digital items dialed in, and as always, putting a good signal here into Midtown Fresno tonight.
Thank you.
Then we head over to SWL 78, checking in. 78 checking in with 70 degrees. We're just on the other side of probably 90 degrees outside here tonight. So Washington State, as always, with some nice late summer. You know what? Isn't fall showing up in a couple of weeks? Here in September, you would never know it around here. Thanks, Richard, for checking in. SWL 79. SWL 80. And we'll switch over to page 4. Before I do, I want to say hello to Josh, who is checking in and listening and watching from Camp Lejeune. Hey, in North Carolina. Hello to you. Thanks for tuning in. What we call the Old Tube Radio Network. It's kind of a gathering of stations here in the Central Valley of California that want to either experience talking on the old radios. Sometimes you just don't get enough time to talk, and this forum sort of gets you out, gets you in front of the radio for a little while. And for those of us like myself shortwave listeners who like the sound of the tube radios and maybe remember having one of our own, or we're going to hear a radio that we wish we had, or maybe we just missed the whole tube thing altogether, but we will relive it here in 2020. What it sounded like in 1970, tonight on your old tube radio on September 5th of 2020. Who else is jumping in tonight? The Bob and Steve Show. Let's do that before we head over to page 4. Bob and I, that's Steve, are in the green room. Would like to wish everyone on the net a happy and safe holiday. Indeed, the Jingle Singers went to Costco with the OTR card, no doubt. I left it unlocked again, and they got a new washer and dryer. Why do they need? I need a washer and dryer. Why do they need a washer and dryer? What are they doing over there? It's all those tablecloths, I guess. At the holiday sale. Well, if it's on sale, I guess I can't complain. Then they went to Bed Bath & Beyond, and got 15 OTR monogram bath towels. This is not sure where this one is going, with white and black letters, so everything will match. Okay. Are we going to have some little bath get-together? I don't know. And they say they love that OTR card. Well, what do we get? 4% extra cash back from all the thousands of dollars that are being charged to make the green room look good, while all the same garbage is still here in the around the air chair. I could use a new air chair, but this one, I haven't fallen over yet. All right, well, thank you. Bob and Steve, making sure that your old tube radio network experience is above average. It's a 10.5. We're working for 11. Page 4. Oh, let's find SWL 81, Steve Areno. I will check in Steve. He may still be in his secret location. Oh, there he is right there. SWL 81 checking in from somewhere deep in the Appalachian Mountains. Well, I wish I had the banjo or the fiddle or something. We have a little Appalachian Mountain. I don't want to play anything that's copyrighted, so we just have to have the Jingle Singers do something for us. So good. Thanks for listening in, and I'm glad our signal is reaching into the depths of the Appalachians there. Thank you, Steve. Let's try SWL 82.
82, checking in from the Ditch Banks of Iowa, and I'd like to thank everybody who checked in last night. Pretty good turnout.
It was. Fortunately, I don't have a replay because I don't think the stream was up. But what Ron is talking about, and what you might want to take note of, is what we call here on the West Coast, the Ditch Banks Sideband Net, open to all. It happens Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on channel 36 lower. That's 27365. So if you're in the local area, put your dial into the, dare I say it, into the into the lower slot bucket. That's what AMers call sideband. But I will guarantee there is no slot bucketing going on the Ditch Bank sideband net. It's all good stuff. So go to lower sideband channel 36, and if you're not on the roll call, after the roll call, say hello to Net Control. Maybe they'll put you on. But anyway, we'd like to hear from you. And also, I think they have an area where if you're listening in from afar and the DX is in, they'll say hi to you as well. Ron is one of the Net Controls. SWL 58, Jeremy is the Net Control operator, and often when he's there, they display on the SDR over the Universal Media Netweb your audio signals. That's also fun to watch. Anyway, thanks, Ron. Before you go, Ron, give me another one of those. You've got the double dingy thing. Give me a double dingy.
All right. Well, there she is. Not a tube radio, but anyway, it's got a noise toy. So anyway, everybody take care out there, and happy birthday to shortwave listener number 20, Mr. Harvey.
Yeah, 20 and 49 with birthdays today. All right, thanks, Ron. Also going to get SWL 84 checked in. Call for SWL 85.
85 in the mobile, Dennis.
Hey, all right. We hear from Reedleytown. I heard Robert say that just too much noise. He's hearing us on the stream, but not on the ground wave. And, of course, you are banging into net control. I got you checked in. Over.
Thanks, Dennis. Yes, it is a little bit low out there. The noise is a factor, but it's just a signal issue. I don't know what it is there, but we hear you some nights, and I did hear you a couple weeks ago. So I thought I'd drive over and hear the pleasant voices of everybody, and wish everybody well, especially Louie, 93. I hope you get better, Louie. We're rooting for you, buddy.
Absolutely. Boy, that mobile radio sounds awesome. Be sure to check out either the audio or the video replay and listen how good that signal is at 10 dB over S9 here in Midtown Fresno. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, my antenna's low, and really there are some areas in there that are down in just a little bit of I'm going to say a lower area. I will have to check the elevation map. I think I'm about 308 feet. 310 feet. It actually will give you your elevation. I guess GPS will do that too. And there may be certain parts of the north-south valley that fall into a little bit below that or above that. But altitude is everything when it comes to being heard, or as John just approved, as they say in real estate, location, location, location. Get close to net control and they will definitely hear you. We have a check-in for SWL 86, SWL 87, and SWL 88. That's the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, respectively. SWL 89. SWL 90. I've got a proxy check-in for 90. SWL 92. And moments ago, as you heard live and direct, SWL 93 making a great transmission here into net control. Louie, we've got you checked in officially. SWL 98.
Check it in, Dennis.
All right, sounding good as always here in Midtown. Thanks, 544.
Thank you, Dennis.
And then SWL 103, I actually was listening in from another room on the audio stream when Mr. Cheesy Easy 103 dialed in and got a proxy check. And so whoever was doing the proxy for 103, Jeff, I have that. Over.
Copy that, no problem.
Then let's go up to Auberry, where it could be a bit smoky, SWL 109. Shortwave listener 110. SWL 111. I don't know if you're still listening, Robert. Reedley has been promoted tonight, thanks to 85 in the Mobile, and we will also get your check-in as well. Let me run back to page 1 for SWL 23. 23 Skidoo has gotten on the big bus and is in the OTR skip digital conditions here, checking in from the beach in Santa Cruz, where even the sharks are wearing masks and staying 6 fin lengths apart. Well, you know, those sharks know best, I guess, and I wouldn't want to mess with them anyway. Yeah, we're going to need a bigger tube radio. I think that was the line from that movie. Over to back to page 4, where we are looking for SWL 113.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, over.
Yeah, I forget what number Wayne is, Rickershaw. I think he might be in the mobile.
Oh, well, you know, I was just about ready to tell you his number by announcing it as our next SWL 114.
114, checking in from a destroyed mobile.
Right, a lot of mobile check-ins tonight. Okay, I'll say it's not the usual Cobra 2000, but I do hear you. Over.
All right, thank you for the check-in.
All right, you can just say you're talking from behind your mask. because that's what it sounds like. But I hear you just fine. Okay, 114 in the mobile, an official X in the square.
Thank you.
And let's see, before we go any further, let's go to page 2, where SWL31, Robert and Teresa are saying hello, radio from the video side. Maybe they're on the mobile too. I don't know. Are you texting from the mobile? Safely, I hope. Let's go up and get a check-in for SWL31. And then back over to page 4. The radios are coming up, our tube radios, so do not go away. 114 is in. That takes us up to SWL 128. I did see, if I go over to this screen, 128 checking in, saying, sorry about our heat wave. Well, by September, the end of September, I would say we're sort of used to it. Although when it gets to 110, I don't know how you ever get used to 110. But sometimes that happens. Been in the low 80s where he is at, 60s at night. And where he is at is in Fairfax, Virginia. Thanks, John. Got you checked in here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 131. SWL 133.
Good evening, Dennis. 133, checking in.
133, sounding good in the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. And Dave, I will and have got you checked in.
Thank you very much.
Okay, they must have just opened the parking lot, because here comes some check-ins that we've missed earlier, and we are glad you are in there. Let's go to page 1 for SWL 13, Mr. Cobra. Often a busy guy, but I'm glad he makes time for the Old Tube Radio Network. Mike, I've got you checked in. And the AM Voices of Idaho that we actually heard here live and direct weeks ago. I'm going to have to go find that audio clip and get it ready to play back. SWL 28, I'm sorry, yes, SWL 28 and SWL 30. That's Chrissy and Dwayne in beautiful Idaho. Let me do the official click for 28 and the click for 30, and I think it registered. Yeah, I think these actually get logged somewhere. I don't know where, but there's probably some file that I haven't opened for the last 10 years that's full of check-ins. So if you ever doubt that you got checked in, I would be able to go back there and figure it out. All right, thanks for checking in. Back over to page 4. All right, is my audio still working? I guess so. Nobody's complaining yet, or else maybe they're glad they can't hear me. Let's try SWL 135. I've got a note. I should proxy in 135, Mr. Green Arrow, which I will, as well as SWL 137, which takes us to, and I will do it right tonight, SWL 145, Tony.
Good evening, Dennis, and all the patient people. This is Tony, SWL 145, checking in from Course Code. We'll keep it short tonight so you can get to them tube radios warming up. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. 145-73, everybody.
All right, 73 is a good thing, and thanks for checking it. Sounds good. You got the radio full of audio. Hope you guys aren't getting too much. I know you're on the other side, but aren't getting too much smoke, and the roads aren't too clogged up there with the firefighters. So thanks for checking in. Okay, who else is in? Magnum Red, X4000. Check my email. I will do that. Todd, awesome feed. Thank you. Happy early birthday to Rich at CB Radio News. Yeah. Rich and all the gang over at CB Radio News. A lot of birthdays coming up. Thanks, Todd, for reminding us of that. Warren. Hey, Warren is in. Smoky Mountains, east of Tennessee, checking in. And the next station, SWL 147. Let me click the button. And Neil says tonight, 83 is the high today, 68 is the low. That would actually be really nice weather for September here in the Central Valley. It's not going to happen. We might have a low of 83. Goodbye summer. No fires or hurricanes. Keeping your fingers crossed. 73 from the JGQ, Dr. Jazz in the Carolina Sandhills. Thank you, Neil. And I wonder, are you ever going to come, are you going to be visiting out in Sixland anytime soon? Don't do it now. I think you're safe staying away for a while. Let's go up to Course Gold once again for SWL 195.
195, check it in, Dennis. There's a whole bunch of campers coming out of the mountains up there.
Yeah, I saw a picture of the, 168? When they were starting to do the evacuations, just trying to get people out of there safely, so hopefully everybody's got a nice spot that's not too far away, and that hopefully, actually, when it comes down to it, isn't going to be necessary, but we will see. And then we are going up to SWL 226.
Proxy 226, and he said he has a little bit of static up there.
Okay. From that wimpy, undermodulated net control guy, he needs to put his antenna up in the air. All right, Mr. Three-Wheeler Jeff, we've got you checked in if you're listening or maybe watching the stream. Who else would like to check in? Maybe I missed you. You need a comment here before we go to our radio check-ins. OTR is listening. New stations, Germantown, Wisconsin, Boulder Creek, California. Where's Boulder Creek? Isn't that over by... Oh, is that over by the Big Basin? I think that's where that is. That was just in one of the big fires. I think I'm right on that, but I don't know. All right, I will be back in a moment. I'm going to do a little bit of computer checking, so it'll take me a moment or two. Oh, wait, maybe we're back. Let's see. 1, 2. Hey, it's back. It sort of fixed itself, so maybe I won't have to do anything bad. All right, moments from now, the Tube Radios will be checking in. This is your Old Tube Radio Network. Back in a bit.
He's getting ready for the tube check-ins. He's just doing a couple things. He'll be right back. What number was that? Copy that. I'll let him know.
Copy 650 on the mount.
All right, let's see if we've got this set up right on your old tube radio network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Why are they all applauding and cheering? I think I know why. It's because the classic tube radios from 1958 to 1978, there's Class D 11 meter and beyond radios will be parading by your speaker tonight, thanks to our tube radio operators who take the time out of their Saturday evenings to stop what they're doing, to slip away from family and friends and jump into the Radio Shack and say hello, radio, to all of us here on the Old Tube Radio Network. And we are certainly glad that they do that. And that's what they will be doing tonight. I will grab the current Tube Radio check-in list to sign in for September 5th of 2020. X4000 just sent me some pictures, a couple of pictures of the OTR net control room from 1987. And I really don't know if I'm going to be able to link these up because they're just in photos, and that's really hard to jump in and to transfer them. But he's got a picture of my I totally forgot about my first radio room, actually the radio room that I did when I was doing net control. The early net control, I guess the first net control with some of the old radios there. So if I can dump that picture on, I will. Otherwise, I'll have it for you next week. But in the meantime, let me say this is the Old Tube Radio Network, and we are looking in for radio number 1.
45.
And we just may have radio number 1. Hello, Paul. Jump up into the air chair. here on the Old Tube Radio Network, and at 9:01 Pacific Daylight Time, I think that's what we're on, yeah. Give us a transmission, over.
Okay. I hope I got the modulation up on this thing a little bit more. My Pierce Simpson Guardian 23.
Yes, the audio is better. Still not 100%, but it is. I'm not having to strain to hear you. And we do have some people listening that are probably from the Facebook group that are fans of the Pierce Simpson. And I want to make sure that you are on the Guardian 23. Over.
That's correct. Guardian 23. I thought you had one like this.
Yes, I'm not sure if mine's a 23 or the 23B. It is not here in the rack. I actually did a multiple OTR net controls with it. And why am I not using it? Well, again, the radio I'm using now works much better for feeding the network streams and the dual audio and doing the sideband zero beat. But that radio was actually, it had a very good receiver, I thought. The transmitter was good. I always got good reports. And the only thing was the S meter is a little bit, you've got to really have the radio on an angle to see the S meter. But other than that, it's a fine radio, and we'll talk about it. Over to you for a transmission.
Yeah, you're right. All the way through with things. The meter is really small. You almost need a magnifying glass to see it. Your eyes are a little sweet. But it's all there. It works interesting because it's small. And then you got the channel readout on the middle there, and it's small also, and it's got a modulation out of right of that, and it's small. But it's a neat looking radio. Small radio, for the things on it are small. It has a big on the front of the thing. And like I say, I'm talking on a stock sonic ceramic microphone, and it has logos on the microphone. It says it is Pierce Simpson. So I hope
might actually be, we're showing one here. This is from Cliff's collection. Let me go to the close-up, and that might be the microphone you're using. It's sort of a teardrop shape. The signal is really good. The audio is probably about 50%. There is in the stack where the channel is selected, the S meter, and on the right side, I believe that's a modulation indicator. It's an orange. It's almost like a neon, or I'm going to say a neon tube that glows. So it may not be blinking too much with the amount of audio you've got. I always like the styling. I think Pierce Simpson had some of the best, for the mid-1960s, had some of the best, what I'll call mid-century modern styling that wasn't real cluttered. And before they started making the radios look like furniture with wood cabinets and things, they made their radios look more like tabletop AM and FM radios that you would normally see in the kitchen. And I think that was a big plus for getting the radios out of the garage and out of the workshop and into the living room, next to the table on the TV. So after you watched Red Skelton or Jackie Gleason, you would fire up the radio and talk to your friends. Pierce Simpson, Guardian 23 was their top of the line for 1964, believe it or not. And it was... there were 3 radios that came out at about the same time, and this was the top model, I believe. So we'll go back to you for another transmission.
Okay. Yeah, you're right about the receive on this thing. It is tremendous. Really, really good. Enjoy it. All of these figures are hard for me to hear. I'm hard to hear it anyway, but it really makes it difficult. This thing has a heavy-duty plastic case on the thing. It's a blue color, and case blue, and the rest of it's multi-color. I'd say purple, yellow. It doesn't sound like it's pretty, but it is pretty. Anyway, thanks for checking in, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it by. Don't go away. We'll take another transmission. In 1964, the original price was $300, but this was a top of the line, all 23 channels, S meter, and the reason it does sound good on the receive, it had a dual conversion Super Ed receiver with low noise New Vista front end. So it was one of the first radios that they put in the New Vista Superior Squelch Circuit illuminated S meter, if you can see it. And let's see, while operating 50% of its full duty cycle, I'm going to see if I can find... Okay, that is, where is our control? All right, I'm going to go back, and there is an advertisement. Let me pull that up. The 3 radios that came out at the same time were the Companion 2, which was their, I guess, starter radio at 189.50, and I don't think that was 23 channels. The Escort, which you've checked in before, and I don't think that was a 23-channel radio, and that was 229, and then the Guardian 23, or later on the 23B, and that was the 23-channel radio. Pierce Simpson Incorporated. Where's our Florida stations tonight? Out of Miami, Florida. And you could get more information. You could get accessories. The Companion 2 had an external S-meter, believe it or not, and all models had a remote speaker. I don't think I've ever seen that. There's something to look for on eBay or wherever, the remote speaker at $11.95 for your Pierce Simpson radio. Let me put the S-meter back up. We'll go back to you for a transmission. And you know what? While you do that, also do a frequency check. Over. Over.
Okay. Picture of it's electronic microphone. And whether it's crystal on the thing. So everything is off on this radio. I love it. Back to you.
Sounds good. You are right on frequency. 27085. That crystal is right on. I'm not sure if... I don't think in 64 those were synthesized yet, so it may be all 23 crystals sitting in there doing something. So very good. Thanks for bringing it by, getting us started off. I was looking for a tube complement on this radio, and I do not see a tube complement. There is a schematic at oldtuberadio.com, it says. So I will make a note. I'm going to put 10, but that's just a guess. We might find out more. And what's the other thing? Let me go back to the picture. Actually, the top of the case, you could call that green. Let me go back to the picture. Let me go back to the close-up. We have some fans of green radio. There you go. That is sort of a greenish case on that radio. Anyway, I like the styling on the Pierce Simpson. Thanks for bringing it by. And the Break OTR, no doubt a 650 beaconing in over. Okay, stay safe up there. Thanks for checking in with us tonight up there in the fires about, I'd say, 40 miles north and east of Fresno. Something a lot closer than what has been happening. And so take care, and we will listen for you next week on the updates. Thanks you. And I'm hearing some skip anyway. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are listening and looking for radio number 2.
Bob number, Dennis.
Hey, give it a try again, over.
Hello. Are we on the right channel here? Are we warmed up?
It is working now, over.
Oh, okay. Maybe that, because I kind of knocked the mic around a little bit. Anyway, Dennis, I'd like to check in my 10-tuber. It's a 10-tube, my E.F. Johnson, the Messenger 223.
Hey, let's do that from Elmer Fudd Johnson. Actually, it's Edgar F., but SWL2 always like to call it Elmer Fudd. The Messenger 223, they're top of the line. They're last of the tube radios. Lots of cool Johnson mobile radios, the 323, the 123. This was the Big Daddy base station derived from the Viking 2. Over to you for a transmission. I will find a very appropriate picture of that particular item.
Okay.
Okay, I heard you on the stock mic. Keep an eye on your, if you've got a meter that wiggles, I call it the old wiggle meter, because I don't think you have the modulation light that's exposed on the front of the radio. Got a bad connection, so it's making the audio dump down to about 10%. So try another transmission, but keep an eye on the front meter to make sure it's moving the way it should. Take a short transmission, over.
Oh, okay. Well, it might be something that is loose in the microphone. I know I had it open for one time just to look in there and clean it out and sprayed a little contact cleaner in it. But I might have jiggled an old wire loose or something.
A good 100% transmission that time. Yeah, it could be something that's just, if you pull the microphone or the connector just a certain way or tilt it, it doesn't quite make the connection. That one was perfect, over.
Okay, well then I guess we're still transmitting. That's a good deal. But other than that there, Dennis, that's all the old baby has to offer. Other than that, hey, when you turn it on, hey, she's ready to go.
All right, and 11 tubes. Thanks, Mitch. 23 letting us know the Guardian 23 is 11 tubes, which I think this radio is as well, the Messenger 223. And the radio we're showing, sometimes we get a picture of the radio when it's on, when there's power to it. This one is not, so I want to confirm, and maybe yours, hopefully, if it's lit, they're not burned out, that where the S meter is and the channel selector is, when you turn that thing on, do you get some illumination? Is there brightness, as it were?
Well, good and bright. S meter, no problem. And channel selector has its own little light above the number 11 right now. No, she's a well-lit radio.
That's what I thought. I knew they wouldn't forget to put some illumination on that thing. Just it's another one. Here's another one, some good styling. Maybe not quite as modern as the Pierce Simpson, but this one I always thought was good. I like the metal front end, giving a nice large speaker in front. The radios that did that always sounded good. And to keep things simple, give your channel selector, the volume, and the squelch, and the meter, and you are good to go. If you need more than that, well, buy a bigger radio. But on my end, you don't need any more than that because it sounds great. You are radio number 2 tonight for our fans of Johnson Radio.
Thank you, Dennis, for letting me check it in there. Hey, okay, we'll let the old channel rock and roll.
All right, and the Jingle Singers are stopping by tonight. Let me jump over to the other camera while they do their thing. I think we've got stuff set up tonight. The computer seems like it's working again, so we'll see what happens here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The station for you is OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network, here on 27085 Channel 11. That is where we are. If you're looking for us over the air, if you're looking for us anywhere else, you're probably at oldtuberadio.net, or perhaps the video where you're seeing the REA modulation meters as I'm trying to keep this bucket of bolts transmitter in a range where all the SWLs and Old Tube Radio operators can hear me. We are looking for radio number 3.
Number 7.
And hello, number 7, over.
And this time, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, along with the Golden Eagle gold-plated D104.
I will get the appropriate video for that, which, as we've found before, actually has, even though this is not from your collection, but it displays the microphonium of which you reference, and the radio, the transmitter-receiver combination. This was as big as it gets from Browning Laboratories in at least two pieces. You could probably get the 5-piece Mark II combination and make it a little bit bigger if you stretched it across the table, but this was the 1972-76 gotta have radio.
There you go. The Browning is definitely a big radio. Always wanted one. First time I saw one, was told we could not touch it and could only look at it. Now I can touch it all I want.
And there's a lot of things to touch. When you actually fire that up, how much, shall we say, how much prep is there to get that thing on the air? I suppose you probably got it in a situation where you don't have to do too much to it, and it probably stays right on channel 11. But if you were to fire it up the first time, it takes a little bit of finesse to spot and tune and check everything.
Oh, yeah, then you got to get your bias right and all that. So, yes, there is a little bit more to tuning, loading, setting bias, and doing that kind of stuff with this radio than just plugging it in and playing.
But once it gets there, and you don't have to do too much to it, but there's a lot of things you can drive, like we were talking about with Joe's E.F. Johnson Messenger 223 that had 3 knobs. One box with 3 knobs. Here we've got the 2 radios with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's just, it may take a little while to drive this around the block.
There you go. Definitely not your beginners or radio. That's for sure. Not an entry-level radio that you would get.
The Browning Golden Eagle, the Mark III. This is the SSB. There was a unit that didn't have the sideband in it. There was an AM transmitter, and you could save about, I think it was $200 lighter without the sideband, but the transmitter would be about half the size. That's the bottom unit, so figure about cut that in half, and that's your AM transmitter. I think they probably sold more of the sideband transmitters. It sounds good, and I think the only reason they stopped making these in 1976 was they had to figure out how to get 40 channels in somewhere, and that begat the Mark IV. Radio number 3 at we'll copy it down at 917. Back to you for a transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
Well, thank you, OTR, and thanks for checking me in.
Okay, and that adds another 21 tubes to the mix. And like we heard last week from the Espresso trucking companies, sometimes we wish they all could be Golden Eagles looking for radio number 4.
45.
And we might just have radio 4 here at 9:19 Pacific Daylight Time. Hello, Paul. Can you copy me? Over.
Copy you just fine.
All right, let me jump over to the radio Rolodex and squeeze the coiled cord microphonium and tell me what you got.
Okay, this is my Pierce Simpson companion.
All right, our Pierce Simpson. I hope we got some people listening in from the Pierce Simpson group, or maybe you're watching the video ex post facto. This is a good one for you guys. So you are working on the, give me the model number again, over.
It's a companion.
All right, there's a companion and a companion 2. I'm going through the Rolodex, and I actually see that we have a shot of a courtesy of Paul. Hey, there it is. Again, I was talking about the styling. Let me get the bigger shot of that. And that is definitely some out-of-this-world styling. It looks like you just went to Disneyland. Give us a transmission.
You're right. Never thought about it that way. It's not near as pretty as the last one I checked in. And it's got a lot less goodies on the thing. Doesn't have a meter on it, but it's got a light on the right-hand side, modulation light on the top corner. And it flashes real good right now. It's got the basic things on the thing. It's speaker on the front and all that. And it's all crystal controlled. A 22-channel VFO control in the front. And Fusonic ceramic mic, soft mic on the thing. I think it's a little stronger mic than the last one I had. Anyway, back to you, Dan.
Yeah, the audio is a little bit louder. I'm thinking there may have been something going on with the Pierce Simpson, the Guardian, the 23, because those are definitely typically louder. I believe we showed the ad. There were 3 radios. So the first one you checked in, the Guardian 23, was their top of the line. This was their entry-level radio, and I think this was at about $189. So this actually would have been comparative price-wise to, at the time in 1964, to any of the general radio telephone, like a Master Control 5 or 6, about the same price level. This is not 23 channels on the transmit, but it is 23 on the tunable, right?
Yeah. 5 channels good for control on the thing. That's the transmit crystal on the front. Stick into that. Rest is VFO control on the front also.
Yeah, the VFO, and it looks like there's an external EXT, so you have the crystal sockets right in the center, and that was common, because what would happen is you'd get your 5 channels set into the radio, and you have to take the case off and put them all in, and then invertibly somebody would come up and say, hey, we monitor channel 22, come up and talk with us, and you're out of channel selecting things, and you can at least have a crystal you can plug in the front, so you could... I guess if you had enough money, you could have all 23 channels, sitting in your little crystal box, and then you would go to the external crystal thing and plug the crystal in, and then tune it in with the receive. I don't see a spot switch on that, so it looks like it could have been interesting to get everything together. The PS stands for Pierce Simpson. It looks like a hardwired microphonium. And Chrissy says, what an interesting-looking radio. And look back in 1960, the tabletop radios that RCA and Zenith and whoever else made the table radios that went in your kitchen. This looks a lot like that with the plastic case and the big waffle grill speaker. So I'm sure they did that on purpose, trying to make this radio, get it out of the garage, get it out of the workshop, and get it into, get it into the house, where everybody is happy that it doesn't look like a piece of test gear. It definitely looks like it belongs. I'm looking for a tube complement, which I don't see. I'm guessing on this it could have 8 tubes. I will write that down, see what we can find out. It's in Sam's CB4. Back to you for a transmission on what was the entry-level Pierce Simpson radio for 1964.
Okay, 1964. Yeah, this is a pretty different looking radio than the other ones. I mean, they made this, like you say, kind of like come out of Disneyland. It's a kind of a purplish, so it's not purple. Well, it looks purple to me. A little more red in the purple on the plastic. So this thing, you kind of push it in on the top, and the other simple, you can't move it. It's solid plastic. Quite a difference in the two. As far as the look on the thing. Anyway, thanks for checking in, Dennis.
All right, one question, if you can hear me okay. From what I can tell on the top of that, it doesn't look like there's any vents. These are all convection cooling, meaning there's no fans, there's no air blowing. It just has to, waft out of some type of venting situation. I don't know how your radio is mounted, but does that thing looks like it could get quite warm. I just don't see that there's any venting in that.
Yeah, I hope I heard that right. There's not much ventilation on them. The other one, Pierce Simpson, has more ventilation on the thing. I mean, the Guardian, I'm sorry. The Guardian has more ventilation than this one. So it does get rather warm in the case, I'll tell you that. Thank you.
Well, tubes like heat. It's the transistors that don't like the heat. And 23's could do is on it again. 7 tubes. I guessed 8. Well, we've got 7 tubes and 3 transistors. I don't know if that did DC. If it had some transistors, it might have been, part of them might have been for like DC to DC conversion. But the tubes keeping it warm. Thanks, Mitch, for the update on the tubes. And thanks, Paul. Let me go... you know what? Take another transmission, Paul, before you go, and then we'll see how close that one is to the Guardian 23 on frequency. Over.
Okay. I don't know if you with the frequency, but I may be very close. I know it's within range. Anyway, to make the FCC happy. I know that's close, so back to you.
The FCC would be happy. I think they allowed 700 cycles, and I don't know if that was above or below your desired crystal-controlled frequency. This one checks in at about 200 cycles low, but of course, on my filtering, I can't tell it at all unless I go to sideband. Radio number 4, the Pierce Simpson Companion. From the trio of Pierce Simpson radio, this was the entry-level radio, less than $200, and still working here in 2020. Thanks for bringing it by.
Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
All right, Jingle Singers they must like all those Costco goodies. They want to come up again and say hello to our listeners. So let me jump over to the REA meter, which should be on this camera right here. And if I can get their attention, when they want to sing, and they don't watch me. Here we go.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And OTR's looking for radio number 5. Oh, they want to sing some more. Wait a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to
I may not be able to get rid of these guys.
your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Okay, they're done.
60.
After that double whammy from the Jingle Singers, Radio 5 is ready. Hello, Joe.
Okay, Dennis, we want to check in our Robin T123B. Doggone it, the pretty green radio. And with the extra added features to it, it went from a 23 to having now 9 extra channels, as high as 35. And now talking on a D104 Lollipop.
Nice audio. Everything's good. And you said the G word. You said the green radio. Fans of green radio here on the Old Tube Radio Network are perking up their ears and their eyes on the video channel for the Robin T123B, which we have displayed and that you will be adding the audio to momentarily. I've got it ready to go. This was the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, produced the same amount of time, 1972 to 1976, a good 4-year run for this radio on the Panasonic chassis. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Doggone it, all the features work on it, and with the squelch pulled out the tone on this radio. It's so bassy, and speaker sounds crystal clear. Doggone it, and with this Lollipop on here, I seem to get a little bit more wiggle on this radio. Along with the features that it has its little controls, extra little controls there, so I can go from a 23 channel to extra 9 channels.
You probably have to make yourself a little, 3x5 cheat sheet card or something and paste it to the radio, because I think you have to flip switches, and there is no display that tells you what channel you're on, right?
Only the little frequency counter that I have on it now, inline. It's on the coax, so I got a frequency counter off of 241 Chris, and now as I go to like channel 9, which is 35, channel 35, switch up, the first switch up, second switch down, and I'm on channel 35.
Hey, you can tell when they're doing the sideband. A frequency counter, well, that's cheating. But that's okay. I think that's better than the 3x5 card. At least you will know where you are. The green radio, the Robin T123B. Now, this radio looks to me a little bit more utility, but they've dolled it up with the coloring by putting the colored inserts on the knobs, which is pretty cool. And then, to keep the tech factor in there, not only do they give you the S meter, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights that can wink and blink at you, and then external speaker in the PA. So for the Panasonic chassis, I really think this was the deluxe box. I don't know if Robin paid them a little bit more, saying, give us the patent, give us the copyright to all your little extras, and we'll put them in the Robin T123B. This is the classic 11-tube style, running the 12AX7 in the modulator mic preamp. So I don't know if some of the audiophiles might go through their box of 12AX7s and find that perfect one that gives it that sound, but I think you're doing good with what you've got. At oldtuberadio.com, not only is there an operator's manual, but a schematic as well for this radio. I hope you are able to either watch the video playback or listen to the audio playback, because I think you'll be real pleased with the audio from that microphone on this radio.
Oh, thank you much. This is one I had laying around here. She's the old one, 4-wire job. She's not a 6-wire, and I figured I'd put it to use there and took my chances and played around with the old pins for a while and got shocked once or twice, but I think we hit it. But anyway, she will be with the radio from here on, and I appreciate you letting me check this one in, Dennis.
Okay, one of our SWLs rightly says for the Panasonic chassis, this has the RF gain right on in front. There may have been another one that used that. And also, as you mentioned, it has the tone control. How do you function the tone control? Is that a pull-out knob? Do you have to pull one of the knobs out to do that?
Yeah, the first knob is your volume, and your second knob is the squelch. And then you pull it for the tone control, or just put it in for regular sound. And you got your fine-tune knob, and then you got your RF gain knob.
Okay, I see. I did a close-up. You can see it says pull tone. I don't know why more radios didn't do that. I know the expensive radios did. The Tram has the tone control, not only on the on the receive, but the transmit as well. Fine-tune is always a plus to have. And if you've got some stations that you want to tweak in the audio a bit, high or low, or somebody's doing, the hi-fi audio, like I try to do on AM. I kind of miss the mark a lot, but if you've got a nice receiver and a tone control, you can dial things in to make it sound good. Radio number 5, Joe is at the microphonium of his Robin T123B, and it is doing a good job. Thanks for bringing it by.
Well, I've had fun with it, Dennis. This has been a fun radio for me. A little ups and downs with the mics and the channels, but she's coming around. I think that I'll be okay with it. I think from here on I can just put her in first gear and go. Thanks a lot for letting me check it in, Dennis.
Hey, and thanks a lot for bringing it by here on the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, at 9:35, I'm going to try something here. X4000 sent a video, and I'm going to, I guess, put away my vanity here. This may not work. Let me switch over to the other camera, which would be that one. And then I'm going to slide this down. Here we go. All right, this is the control room from 1987. I don't know who that guy is, but this is from 1987. So this would be my very first Old Tube Radio Net control. I wish there was more radios and less of me. So let me see the Radio Shack. So I had the Atari 520 ST computer. There's the AEA PK232. I think I just picked that up. I went to an ARRL convention that was in San Diego. There is the FT101. I think that's the radio I was using at the time. There's the old audio board, the Radio Shack audio board. There is my DX60B. That's the green radio, the receiver. I think it's the HR10, but that was my novice rig. And then the 101. And there is the Gonset communicator that has the magic eye. That's an AM 2-meter radio. What else is in the shot? There's the rotor. So I had my tower up because I see the rotor controls. This is 1987. I just had put the tower up. Oh, there's the Gonset G76. I use that on OTR. So that's next to the Gonset the Gonset communicator. There's the landliner patch and the call book. Back in the days when they had call books, and there's the let's see, what am I doing here? All right. I've got to grab that part of it. And we are doing that. Okay, so that's it. That's the control room from 1987. And net control there saying, what? Can we get another radio checking in? All right, OTR is standing by. Hey, Paul, I hear you on the radio. Can you hear me? Over.
I was waiting for somebody else to check in. I thought you said there was somebody else to check in. So, anyway, I'll check in. It's the Polycom 2-12.
Let me see what I've got in the Polycom Rolodex. I figured it was be kind of a laid-back kind of check-in evening tonight on a pre-holiday, and it's hot, and there's backiness going on. So I figured if we got a couple of radios tonight, that would be a good thing. So we're looking for, let's see, Polycom or Polytronics, and the model. What was the model and number again? Over.
Okay, it's the Polytronics Polycom 11-12.
Oh wow! All right. I'm looking through the Rolodex here to see what I got. How many channels is that radio?
4 channels. I don't know, that's 11 or Roman numeral 2. That put it up on running. So it's 4 channels. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go with I'm glad you said that. I'm going to go with, on the Rolodex here, the Roman numeral 2 or the Polycom 2. And you said it was 4 channels. So here we go. Here we go from radios that look like they should be in the kitchen to, here's the utility radio we talked about. This is get on the air. This is make some RF, modulate your carrier, and hopefully you are good to go. I think I've got the picture.
Yeah, you got not my radio, but you got one just like it. Very interesting radio. I believe that 1961 was the manufacture date on this thing. I don't have it written down in here permanently, but I think I remember seeing that somewhere. Made in Clinton, New Jersey. So this thing doesn't have a Nabisco tube in it. I can tell the receiver on it. That was good, so the data wasn't come out. It had the Nabisco tube in it. Well, I should have plugged out the front end on the thing. This can use a little plug-in, but it's working good. Real solid radio. This microphone's got aluminum. It's not aluminum. It's going to be a metal polished polytronic. It's ready for this radio. But I'll tell you what, it's heavy. You know what I'm talking about. Back to you.
Yeah, the whole radio looks heavy. And it is green. So if you like green radios, and who is it? Paul says, yeah, Paul, I agree. Looks like maybe some Army stuff. Looks like it has a carrying handle or a bail on the front. I don't know if that holds the front up. I like the little badge where you can, I guess, pull out the piece of paper and write in the channels. You know, we've got a selector of 1, 2, 3, 4, so you could put in the frequency or whatever. Get you a nice big red light bulb. I don't know what the Polycom red light does on the top, if it just shows up when you're talking or if it blinks at you too.
And the red blinks is the white light down in the middle of it, below the little, I would say, the 4th channel. As you see, a little select area where you write numbers in. Back to you.
I got to turn my audio back on. I was talking to Harvey's on the crossband 2-meter radio, so I should hear him in a little while. I like the fact that they give you an A&L. I mean, on a radio that looks pretty plain, you got this great big switch for an automatic noise limiter, which may or may not work, but can come in handy. And the channel and squelch control. So it's doing good. The audio is not too bad. There's a little bit of AC hum in with it, but it could be some, I'm thinking, does that radio plug into the wall, or do you have to use a power supply? Do you have to use a separate power supply for that?
Beg your pardon. I'm sure with the radio right now, it's cleaning one of the things on the back. I can tell what it is. But come back on that, please.
Yeah, that radio plugs into the wall. There is no separate power supply for that radio, right? Over.
second power supply is your standard 110 volt outlet, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of AC hum with that, so capacitors inside might need some looking at. But other than that, it's doing good for a radio that is coming up on, 60 years old, the Polycom 2. I will do a frequency check on that one the next time you come back.
Good, I'm pretty sure. This thing of the radio where you pull it out and you carry it around with the thing. Kind of neat. It's really neat over there. It's well built for the 60s and early 70s. Back to you.
That's right. And as our SWL say, who doesn't like a green radio? The Polytronics Polycom 2, possibly one of their first efforts for the Class D 11 meter. Almost looked like a prototype with the screws in the front and the way they put it together, but Polytronics was making some radios and things before that, so they knew what they were up to, just trying to get into the Class D market and see how things go. I don't have a price on that. I don't have a tube complement. I'm going to write down 7. I have a feeling it's probably close to like the early Hallicrafters tubes. Well, we've got it checked in. You are radio number 6, and always like and thrilled by how well these radios that look like maybe they won't, they just can't. You know, I think I can, and they work quite well. You are good on frequency, about 100 cycles low, so the crystal is hanging out pretty good after all these years.
Good, I'm happy. I don't know the process thing. I like to fly. I didn't check all this. I've missed a lot of things. I imagine it was probably, well, say about 150, 200 or less. But it's well made, I'll tell you what. This thing's a mobile unit and a base unit made for both, and it's solid. So, anyway, thanks for taking it in.
All right, just checking in with Harvey again. He'll be on in just a little bit. So, yeah, let me go back. You know, I want to put the S meter on here, and go ahead and take another transmission. I want to put the radio and the S meter at the same on the same video. Go ahead.
Good. So, by the way, I think it's Harvey's birthday. He just got in this thing. Happy birthday, Harvey, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think it is. He'll probably be joining us before we sign out tonight. Looks like he's close to the home QTH. Radio number 6, the Polytronics Polycom Pro. Something that everybody should have in their collection, right? You get the nice, fancy 11-tube, 12-tube radios, the Eagles, and then you got to have something that's a little bit humble, that looks like maybe it won't work, and it works just fine. And make sure that at least one of those channels that you write channel 11, or maybe the old Tube Radio Network in the little channel selector badge. Thanks, Harvey. And thanks, Paul. And the old Tube Radio Network. I'll have to see. I'll have to see. I'm looking at those old radios. That's my old 101. I got a different 101. I should try the 101. The Gonset, I think, blew a resistor. The DX60B would actually be a good radio. There are some modifications for that DX60B, and it would probably play. I could probably get it to play on 11 meters. The Atari 520 ST computer is in a box somewhere, long off the radio shelf. And the Teltristor rotor is in the box and probably needing some lubrication and just waiting for the tower to go up. OTR standing by. And the Jingle Singers are ready once again. So let's go over to the other studio.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
A wonderful Fresno, California, where, I don't know, it might be 85, 86 degrees. We are looking for a high tomorrow of maybe 110. humidity should be low. What does low mean? Probably below 40%, maybe even below 30%. So we are looking for radio number 7.
Number 7.
Would that be the ever-popular Mr. Ed?
That it would. This time, the Tram TR27E.
Looking to find the Tram TR27E. There was a post earlier on one of the Facebook sites where someone said they were working on their Tram TR27. Now, believe it or not, that the 27E you have, I believe, would be considered the base version. There's a Tram TR27 or a 27C, which was considered the mobile version, the mobile radio, because I believe it is a bit smaller than that, although that is, small is relative. That is not a small radio by any means, but I don't think this is the mobile version. I don't know if you could run it mobile even if you wanted to. Over.
No, this one does not have the hookup in the back to be able to change it around and run mobile. This is strictly a base station radio. Nice 5x7 speaker, big S meter. Like I say, nothing small about the radio.
Right, I keep making the pictures bigger on this big radio on this. Okay, I wanted to see the S meter. Because this, the S meter is different. The Tram TR27 or the 27C has the square, it's a smaller box. It's got the square meter. This has the large meter that made its way into the next generation of the Tram Titan and the Titan 2. On a radio that has so much front panel real estate, I still don't know why they made that channel selector so small. Maybe it's the way they put in the crystals or something, but it looks like it's illuminated so you can tell where you're at. Over.
Yeah, it does seem kind of oddball. You got this giant S meter, you got the nice VFO right there next to it, and then a little tiny channel selector. So I'm not sure what they were thinking there.
Yeah, I'm thinking it may have something to do with where they mounted stuff, and that's just where it showed up. It's like, cut the hole, cut the hole for the thing. That's where the crystals are going to go. I don't know if they have the turret tuner thing or not. And yet another green radio. You know what? It's just happening that way. Just happen to have the green radios. It does say two-way radio on it, so you are not guessing as to what will happen. You will have two-way communications when you key the microphonium. Over.
Thank you, and thank you, Chrissy. I'm glad to bring another green radio on board. Really like this thing, and yeah, it puts out just a little bit more than the 5 watts anyway. On the peak reading meter, it's doing about 20.
And it's loafing along at that, and it's not over peaked or over tweaked because the audio sounds good. A lot of these radios you can crank it up to make the watt meter look good, but then the audio suffers. So that one's got a nice balance between signal and audio. This is from 1963. I may put up. There's a full page ad. Let me change that and then switch to that. Okay, it didn't switch. But I wanted to see if I could put up... Oh, okay, here's what we have to do. Pull up the full-page ad. There it is. And they even give you a service tip. I don't know if you've ever tried the service tip number 1. Let me see what that's all about here.
Oh, yeah. I like the old service tips. There were some good ones in there. Oh, and tube count, 12 in this radio.
All right, and of course, Mitch is helping me out. Polytronics Polycom 2S11. I wouldn't have guessed that. That seems more. Maybe it's got A rectifier tube. That seems a lot more than it should, but thank you. 23 Skidoo for that, and this has 12, so I will add that. I mean, they got room for probably another 12 more in that box. All right, tram service tip number 1. When tuning the 31.5 megacycle first conversion receive oscillator, coil L2, hope you're taking notes, tune for maximum DC voltage at pin 7 of the 6BK7. They are assuming that the standard 11-meter Class D operator in 1963 was very astute with lots of test equipment, V2. Then looking at the coil from the bottom of the set, turn the slug counterclockwise to drop the grid, pin 7, voltage 2 volts. This results in optimum oscillator stability. And that's tip service number 1. There were more, but I think that's already been done because it sounds perfect.
Thank you. Oh, and running the Electro Voice 638 microphone with also a good classic microphone for classic radio.
They love it in Winnisquam, New Hampshire, and we love it here in Central Valley of California, the old Tube Radio Network. Doing good. The picture, the little black and white picture doesn't do it any justice, and they show it with a Turner-style desk microphone, but I think your selection of a microphone that's very popular with the Tube Radio guys and a lot of the Collins collectors in the High Z, making perfect old Tube Radio audio with that.
Thank you. Oh, with that, we'll sit back and take a little listen for a while. Thank you, Dennis and OTR Control.
Right, nice signal. 20, modulating up to 20 over S9. I think when you're on earlier on the solid state radio, your signal is actually a little bit less than that. So, this one is a powerhouse, no doubt. It's radio number 7. It's the Tram TR27E. Their top-of-the-line radio in the Tram TR27 series for 1963, and the radio from Tram that came out just before they switched over to the Tram Titan and the Titan II and the days of double sideband. Man, time sure flies. It's almost 10 o'clock. I haven't counted it and mounted yet. The Jingle Singers would like to jump in again, and I'm thinking they can do that. And you're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
And what was the question? Oh, Paul, what was the first CB? The very first CB tonight, and we will run down the list here in moments, was the Pierce Simpson Guardian 23. Hey, and everybody say hello to Mountain View is listening. Those are the Google bots from Mountain View, California, checking things out, and again finding that for, I don't know how long we've been streaming. It's almost been 10 years, believe it or not, that finding out that the Old Tube Radio is indeed, even if you're a Google bot from Mountain View, the Saturday night place to be. Hello, Mountain View. Oh, the first ever. Sorry, Paul. We talked about that. There was what was it? There was something called a Town and Country. A company called Utica made a Town and Country, but this may have been something besides that. But there was a post on that long ago, and there was also some verbiage about the Town and Country radio. Whoever was producing that had friends at the FCC to find out that, yes, they're doing the Class D, and they're not going to open it up until officially this date on this month. And supposedly this person that was developing the radio knew that exact date, that they could get the radio out on the market or at least get type accepted first by knowing somebody at the FCC that would make it officially the first radio. But I don't know if I've got that post saved or not. but I believe it was something called a Town and Country, but I don't think it was the Utica Town and Country. But there was probably a group of about 5 radios that came out all about that same time, and I want to say it was early 1959 or perhaps late 1958. That might be the first radios. We talked about it. I don't have good Rolodex files of the old Tube Radio Network, but if I went back in the videos, I could find that, and we actually had some pictures on that. But that's a good question.
20.
Speaking of town and country, this station is all over the place, in the town and in the country, and now back to his QTH. I hope you have got a glass of water and refreshed yourself, and I know you've been out and about running around, and thank you for jumping into the radio room before we sign out. Over to you.
Okay. Number 20 on the Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68 by Browning Laboratories, custom D104. Yeah, it's last couple of months I've been able to get back, or weeks, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's hot. And by the way, you were talking about fires. When I hit Chowchilla coming back from Modesto, all you could smell was smoke in the air. Chowchilla south through Madera on Highway 99, smoky. Anyway, Town and Country 3 was their best radio. Had a big fat final tube that somehow got type accepted, I guess. And they made a couple other, now that one, TNC3, 23 channels, separate selectors for one selector for transmit and receive, but it had all kinds of funny little knobs on there for doing other stuff. Town and Country 3, TNC 3, and then they had, I've got one over here, it's, I think just plain Town and Country, about 4 or 5 channels. And then I think Phil has both of those. Did you say that the Gonsa G76, you put it on OTR?
Actually, I did. The G76, which is that picture? I kind of had to show that picture again because I'm in it, but let me go back. All right, remember, this is from 33 years ago, and the Gonset is the radio that's at the top. It's next to that yellow, it's to the left of the yellow radio for those that are watching the video. It's 2 pieces. It's a transmitter, it's a transceiver that does 10 through 80 meters, and it does 6 meters, and then there's a power supply speaker. And so what I did was I took the 6 meter, because the 6 meter has you can put a crystal in that, crystal selection. So I took the 27085 crystal and put it in the 6 meter slot, and then tweaked the controls down for the 6 meter to get on 11 meters. So it probably, and I couldn't get full power, and I didn't want to go inside the radio and tweak that way, but that did make it on the air for a couple of check-ins on the old Tube Radio Network back 33 years ago, over.
You couldn't get it to work. You said it had 10 meters, but it didn't have a spot in the 10 meter position for a crystal?
No, it actually used a VFO, a poor one at that. It was one of those when you barely turn it, and it goes a long way, but it had a VFO for 10 through 80. And then when you went to 6 meters, it was crystal controlled, because it was just an AM radio. It did not do sideband. It was AM only. One of the last, it probably came out in the mid-'60s. So it was probably one of the last AM only ham radios that would do, you could run it mobile or you could run it base with the power supply. So that was the only way I could sort of coerce it down into 11 meters.
Okay. Just asking there. Alrighty. Yes, September is a busy month for me.
Birthday. Hey, thank you, everybody. I heard the well wishes for my birthday. Coming home, I was listening to OTR on my phone, coming back. And then, anyway, I've got to take all this stuff apart and move it. It's going to be like the whole month of September doing it. Because, yes, I'm moving. I'm moving way 2 miles east, I think. Something like that. Anyway, and about a mile south. But I'll have an indoor radio room. How about that? Air conditioning that works. And so I won't have to take all my D104s out of this room in the summertime, stick them in the house so elements don't go bad. Forgot the one on this mic and went bad 2 weeks ago. Anyway, when I do the move, I might still be on the air one way or the other, but we'll see. Okay, appreciate letting me check this radio in. And I'm tired, so I'm going back in the house and eat some cake and drink some cold water. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, birthday you and also Brian Smitty, SWL49, having birthdays today. So, all right, that'll be a good birthday present. I think you will actually be a little bit closer to OTR control. So you may or may not need the Harvey range boost for most radios. And if we all work on our antennas coming up in the next 12 months, we'll have great signals. We always have great sounding radios, but the signals will be better. Thanks for jumping in the Radio Shack and bringing us Radio 8 tonight, the Browning, we'll call it the Browning Golden Eagle, but we know better. The R68, T68, the first to adorn the Golden Eagle on the front of the radio.
You betcha. This is my Golden Beagle. Okay. Catch you next week.
All right, counting and amounting, the old Tube Radio Network. We are standing by, see if we get any more radios check in before we sign out tonight.
Happy birthday, Harvey.
Thank you.
And checking the comments, see if I've missed anything. Hello to Cricklewood from the UK, jumping in tonight, listening in at, as the sun is coming up at 5:05. Or is it 4 o'clock? Anyway, the sun is coming up over there in the UK. Thanks for jumping into the old Tube Radio Network. And Paul, I agree. Paul says that all these old radios just have something about them that is alluring. And we often compare them to the old cars. You know, when you go to one of those old car shows and the styling with the fins and the chrome, and even if you're lucky enough to, stick your head in the window and just the smell of the upholstery or whatever it was they used, it has that old car smell. Not the new car smell. And there is certain an olfactory benefit when you're deriving an old tube radio, when the dust is burning off the tubes, or the metal is heating up, or the glow. If you turn the lights down low and there's just glows coming out of the back vents as the tubes or whatever. So he is right. There is something alluring about the tube radios. OTR counting and mounting and standing by.
I'm just now walking back into the conversation here, but those were delightful comments.
This is your delightful comment frequency, just counting and amounting and I pulled the radio list back out of the stack because I think you might be able to help us add another item of interest here at 6 minutes after 10 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time.
Oh, yeah. And first of all, I have to say thank you. There was some dialogue, I think, just a little bit before 8 o'clock, talking about the fires up, kind of by Shaver. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, I purposely try not to watch the news these days. But I didn't know that there was such a close fire going on up there, and I do have a friend that's just a really awesome person and that does own a cabin up there, so I thought I'd run off and check in with him, and as of right now he's fine, but folks that are staying up in Shaver, he's got a cabin up in Shaver, and folks that live up there, I think their blood pressure is probably up just a little bit, but anyways, it's nice. Thanks for whoever was talking about that. Gave me a heads up, and I appreciate it. And it gave me an opportunity, an excuse to call a friend just to make sure he's okay. But maybe I'll switch gears to something that's really positive and hot. And you were just talking about the burning dust, the smell of burning dust on a vacuum tube. Radio, and that's definitely what I'm enjoying now on this Browning R27S23.
And it's sounding good for Radio 9, I think. Thought I had a picture of it here. But it went away. Well, I'll find it once again. The R27S23. The radio we just had was the Browning Golden Eagle. The Browning set that Mike is on would be considered the Eagle, the first in the Eagle series, which preceded that. I will show the radio. I've got a shot of the radio. It also has the business band amplifier attached, but you can see that the transmitter-receiver combination, maybe not quite as fancy on the outside as the later, $800 versions, Golden Eagle Mark IIIs, but still, when you looked inside, still doing the same thing with the great audio and the plate modulation and that Browning sound. Of course, the ping as well. So doing good. Yeah, I guess the fire started this morning. I noticed some posts about, the fire going on, so I'm not sure exactly what started. I don't think it was lightning, but I don't know. It's probably, they know by now. We actually had some check-ins from stations up near Shaver, up in Coarsegold, in that area where there are evacuations going on and people coming down are camping far enough away to be in safety, but close enough to actually go up there and keep an eye on things and do what they need to do. So we're hoping that it gets contained. And as you heard Harvey coming in from the north, that's where a lot of the smoke is wrapping around to the north, and we'll see what happens tonight when the wind changes. Radio number 9, let's go back to you and give us another transmission. Over.
Oh, actually, I'm glad that you brought him up. You said SWO 20 was checking in from somewhere up north. Where was that, just out of curiosity?
Well, he just checked in from his normal SWL20 location, but he was driving back from wherever he was during most of the net and listening in at old2radio.net, and he was up near, so he's coming down 99 near, above Madera, Chowchilla area, and said the smoke was pretty bad up there as it circles sort of around the mountain and back down into the valley.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, yes, I'm glad he wasn't driving around up in the mountains. Yes, I don't mean to turn this into a news channel or gossip channel or whatever, but from what I just recently heard, this fire is somewhere in between Shaver and Huntington, and Huntington Lake it's just not looking good right now. I don't know if they're under a mandatory evacuation, but there it is. Maybe I'm going to purposely transition away from that. We want good topics here. So the Browning R27-23. You know what? I think I have a question, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this. This is something I've never talked about on this particular radio. My spot switch on the transmitter, and maybe I don't know if he's still out in the Radio Shack. I hope he's not. But my spot switch on my transmitter, you have to push it in, and you get everything all tuned up, and then you've got to manually pull that button out. I don't think it's an original spotting switch. I think something happened to the original one, and then this thing was put in. I don't think it's just screwed up and malfunctioning or whatever. I'd be really interested in seeing a picture of an original spotting switch. I know that sounds really crazy, but the one I have on this thing, number one, it certainly doesn't function like the original spotting switch, and it's always looked kind of misplaced too, like it doesn't necessarily belong on this. So I don't know if you want to make a comment on that dumb little spotting button.
Okay, I want to make a comment. I've never had one of those radios, so I don't know. I do have the picture, and I've gone to the as close-up as I can get. The focus is not great. And what looks like the spot switch to me, and you can help me out because I can't read the thing. If you go to the bottom of the transmitter, on the right side is the on-off switch or some type of a flip switch. And then there is a knob that I can't tell what it says, but it's got 3 positions. And then next to that is what looks like a silver button, which I'm thinking is the spot switch over.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, you've already answered one of my questions. Yeah, it's a silver button. So maybe this isn't like some weird aftermarket Radio Shack button. Yeah, my spot switch is definitely silver looking. You're right. You do on the very right side of the transmitter. The receiver. There's an on-off switch, and then the switch that's right next to it that you were referring to is just it's the meter switch. I guess you can switch it from forward to I'm sorry. What is it? You can do modulation, forward, and reflected. Those are the 3 settings on that switch you're talking about. But yeah, the spot switch is silver. So there it is. Well, I guess maybe it should look normal.
All right, that's what I see on this. This is just the picture. Symmetrically, it looks as almost like they should have moved it over to the left just a little bit to make it equidistant between the 2 knobs, but it's not. It's like really kind of crammed in between the lettering. Like you said, that's the modulation or the meter select switch. And it really does look like one of those push-in buttons where you push it in, it goes click, and you have to pull it out rather than a momentary, what they call an MOM switch. Looks like it's one of the things you push it in and go clunk, and then you have to pull it back out. So if I was just looking and thinking, I've seen switches like that, something that may not be wrong, although I've seen them before where they are spring-loaded, so they are MOM switches. That, to me, on a transmitter would make a little bit more sense, but of course it's low-power spot. Maybe they thought, you're going to need your hand to turn knobs and go over here and check this, so it would be better to have it, you press it, and then you've got your hands free to go play with stuff.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. Well, I don't want to dwell on this, and maybe I'll kind of sign off on this particular topic, but I'd be really curious to finding out, from other folks that happen to have a S23. I'd be really curious to find out if there are any comments about how the spotting switch works. I do know that SWO20 said that, I could be wrong on this, but I'm reasonably sure that you said that that button should pop back out instead of having to be pulled out. but I could be wrong on that. I don't know if anyone else that happens to own this receiver wants to comment on that. But that having been said, everything else on it is fun to use. The meter's working great. What do I have it on right now? Modulation. The on-the-air lamp is just delightful to work out, to look at, and the microphone is wonderful to use as well, the unamplified banana mic. So anyway, fun toy to use. Everyone sounds great on it, and I can't think of a better way to spend a Saturday evening. So on that, I'll send it back to you. Thank you so much for letting me check it in, and 73.
All right, I'm glad you stopped by to check it in, and he's talking about Radio 9, which he is talking on, and you're listening to, and if you're watching the video or at oldtuberadio.net, that is the picture we have. It's the Browning Eagle R27 S23, the Series 2, which is what I think he has. There was a Series 1 and Series 2. The radio was made for about 2 years, maybe 18 months between 1964 and 66. It was the first of the Brownings that had the Eagle name, and it's somewhere on there. Let me go back to the close-up. There it is. On the transmitter, you can see sort of a silhouette of an eagle head between the channel selector and the on-the-air light. I don't think there was one on the receiver. It doesn't look like it. The Browning Eagle Series 2 base station consists of the R27 Series 2 receiver, the S23 Series 2 transmitter. Some of the differences between the Series 2 are larger meters, neon modulation indicator, and a lighted on-the-air indicator. There is an operator's manual at oldtuberadio.com. What else was I going to say? Anyway, thanks for bringing it by. 18 minutes after 10. Jingle Singers will do what they do best, and then we'll come back and see if there's any other comments before we do the counting and amounting here on your Old Tube Radio Network.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
And the little bit of skip that came in right at our gray line here on the West Coast never came back. The E-skip didn't happen. Reports are that we are definitely in cycle 25 at the bottom, but it will be coming up. They say the minimum was probably December or January. So if you're in DX, that is a promising item of interest. All right, any other comments before we do counting and amounting and get out of here and, as they say, return the frequency to normal? Where is the, I'm trying to get them, if they don't play the totals, how can I officially give the totals without the fanfare? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR total.
The current and final totals from your Old Tube Radio Network on the 5th day of September 2020, Labor Day weekend, such that it is for social distancing and sheltering in place or whatever else we're supposed to be doing. SWLs tonight, I'd add up the big total, 27. All right, looks like a total of 58. That would be 13 on page 1, 18 on page 2, 16 on page 3, and 21 on page 4. Make sure if you're playing the home game to add SWL 63. Butterbean is on the list if you'd like to get checked in that way. What did I miss here? I'm looking at the screen. First radio might have been from International Crystal Manufacturing Company. They advertised the 27 MC transceiver in QST magazine in 1957. Wow. Ahead of the start date on 9/11, 1958. I'll check that because we went through that and there was Crystal, International Crystal. Maybe this Town and Country. I think it was from a different person, but I'll look that up. We actually talked about this. It was very interesting. And I think there, as you might suspect, there was some controversy over just who was the official first. But when we reported this one, it seems like the person involved with the radio somehow got a type acceptance or something because they knew when the dates were going to be. So they got some official stamp. So if you were saying, well, it's not an official if you don't get type accepted, even though you put it out. It might be one of those technical foul things. Radios tonight, we had 9, and I do have a tube count. 9 radios, the most heard manufacturer. Right at the last was the Brownings. Pierce Simpsons were in there. Who else? I thought that was going to be a Pierce Simpson evening. Let's go with what we started with. Radio number 1, 11 tubes is what I've got with that. The Pierce Simpson Guardian 23. That was from Paul. Nice radio. I've got one here. I've got maybe the 23 Plus, the 23B, but it's a good radio. Radio number 2, Joe on the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223 with the other microphonium. If you can listen to the archive, the replay, you're going to like the way the E.F. Johnson sounds. There was a little bit of something going on with the mic cable, but when it came back, it sounded good. 11 tubes for that. Radio number 3, Mr. Ed on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, SSB 21 tubes for that. The Golden Eagle microphonium. Radio number 4, Paul was on the Pierce Simpson Companion. That was the startup radio, I guess, the economy version in the triple play on Pierce Simpson. For your, if you add, under $200, doesn't have 23 channels, 7 tubes in that. Radio number 5, SWL60 on the Robin T123B with, that's the one that had the other microphone on that sounded good, the D104, I think you said. Nice audio. I don't know where you had the range boost, but I don't think you needed to add anything. Had a good combination with that. 11 tubes. Radio 6, Paul on the Polytronics Polycom 2. Our utility radio for the evening. It was green. I think we had more green radios than not tonight. 11 tubes for that. Radio number 7, SWL7 on the Tram TR27E. 12 tubes in that one. Then one of our birthday gentlemen tonight, Harvey, SWL20 and the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. We added 18 tubes there. And then radio number 9, you just heard moments ago, the Browning Eagle R27 S23. We had another 16 tubes for that. So I got a total of 118. Always good. We get triple-digit tubes. So that's not bad. And somebody's counting. I always say when we hit, and it's been, you saw that photo from 33 years ago. I actually like that Radio Shack. It was a little bit more simple, and there was actually more old tube radios 30 years ago than I've got on the shelf. All the other tube radios are way over in the back on the shelf. But just to prove that we were doing stuff like this back then. So, where was I going with that? 58 SWLs, 118 tubes. So, yeah, what's going to happen at some point when we reach 1 million tubes on OTR? There'll be a big party, and the balloons will fall out from the sky. I don't know who will be, if I'll be the net controller at that time or not, because we've had a lot of net controllers over the year. Good night, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network will chat with you later. Stay safe. I know the weather is wacky wherever you might be. Things going on. We are hoping that our friends close by in the new fire zone are in no danger and that the fire is not getting any worse and they're being taken care of. So hopefully we'll be good at that. We'll give you some reports on that next time around. Also, thanks for listening in. Thanks to Frodex, SearchLawrence.com for the Nixie Tubes, and all of you for standing by and listening and helping us out here for the last 35 years with your radios and listening in. It was kind of fun to see that picture from long ago. We haven't changed much. I think my table got a little bit sturdier. But all the gear is still there, and I may still be wearing the same shirt. Who knows? Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thanks a whole lot, Dennis. Real nice evening.
Put some ice cubes in that Ovaltine.
Yeah, I was going to go outside and try and get some fresh air, but I don't think that's possible.
Well, they say the air inside of a home is worse than the air outside.
I'm going to go over to the green room. I think they got some special filters over there. All right, and I think we'll say goodnight to those of you who are on the video side, the audio side. All right, you know what? We got a minute. Let me jump into the other antenna and do a little SWLing. I know there's not going to be any 10-meter beacons. And I'm not even hearing the low-level beacons out of Merced. For Tracy, 20 meters is not happening. Let's go to 40 meters. 40 meters on the Starduster. That's pretty sorry, but let's see what's happening. Get some shortwave broadcasters. Hey.
You and the other station were right in there together, and I got it all mixed up.
7250.
Anyway, 5 and 9 into Cheyenne, Wyoming. Name is Tom, over.
I hope you're listening, Mr. Bill. Cheyenne, Wyoming. If Bill was on, we'd probably talk to him. That's SWL 35. We're listening to 7.250 on the Starduster. Or the 40-meter band is long. That's what happens at night. 40 during the day, you talk up and down the West Coast, and at night it lengthens up. And you don't hear the West Coast stations. But you hear the stations from, big stations from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Can't hear the other station talking.
Okay, great. Sounds good, Doug. You're doing a great job, 5 and 9 into Cheyenne tonight. Yeah, the special event call, it's got my call sign in there because I manage the QRZ page.
Oh, must be special events.
If
What
you
is
want
the
to
railroad?
log WY7KY on QRZ, you can do that also. And I'm going to upload all these logs up into my WY7KY QRZ site. And then we're going to take all the ADIF files from all the stations that's been working, compile them all, and then we're going to send those, fix them all up, and then send them all up to Logbook of the World, too, so everybody will get a chance to...
All right, let's see what else. 40. Great signal from Cheyenne on 40. Let's go down to 75.
Okay.
All right, bands are open. Let's see if we got any AMers.
We don't have any blueberries this year. We got elderberries up there on the tree.
3883.
And I was talking to the XYL today about that. I think I need to fix those. And of course she's been really busy with her mom.
That's 3883 AM, guys. Probably on the Midwest or East Coast.
Yeah, so she's been really busy, so she said, well, I got to see if I got some cheesecloth for straining, because you got to get the skin and all that out of this stuff to make the jellies and the jam. Oh, anyway, I think tomorrow I'm going to fix the elderberries and wash
Taking an old Buzzard transmission.
And, make some more jam. This year at Somerset, usually she brings...
Nice audio, though.
This year, the only thing, well, the one thing she has is 8 stars. So, and that's what we said, no, we had a
Starting to fade out.
It's getting too cold not to. Nothing against.
There's some guys at 3860.
But, anyway, it's what 67 in here and 64 outside, so we're doing pretty good. Got a big fire to the east of us today, and ash is all over the place. It was the smoke was blocking the sun most of the day here, so it was cooler. A good question. It's over near Forest Falls, and as the crow flies, I don't know, 15 miles maybe. We should be fine here is the point, but they're evacuated over there.
Not sure where that station is at. One side of the conversation. All right, well, the bands are open. The low bands, the high bands, I should say, the low frequencies, doing okay tonight. All right, good night, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network, SWL in just a little bit. We will catch you next week. COVID-19 fires and wacky weather permitting. And Creasy says, I look handsome. Oh, yeah. I saw that picture from 33 years ago. Who was that kid? All right, talk to you later. What's the other picture? It was hard enough just to get the one picture on there.
I haven't even turned the fan on upstairs like I normally do.
There were 3 pictures, right?
It didn't get that hot. So, anyway, I guess Craig is...
I'm not even sure what I was doing.
Without, normal voltage and all that. I wonder if he's got his computers running right now because it's probably not
Kevin.
good.
Let me see. I got the Kevin picture here somewhere. Hold on. All right, there's Mr. OBP. We'll jump over to the 922 cam. We're still on video. All right, there is SWL2, Mr. OBP.
Near Shaver Lake, and I have a high school friend that lives up
The
there.
originator of 9 pounds, good modulation. Hey, there's my globe. There's my 25-cent illuminated wall globe. It's like a beach ball with a 15-watt lamp in the bottom of it. And you spin it around, and you can tell. I think it's still got French West Africa. I think it's from 1959. Africa is all messed up, but it's great if you want to see where something is. You know, you're listening in on the DX, and you want to see where somebody is compared to you. Oh, is that what that is? Yeah, I said it doesn't look like he has a Band-Aid. That's something from the photo. Now, there's a handsome guy. That's Mr. OBP. There's the Radio Shack. Hey, and there's Boso Control. Boso, the schnoz is still sitting there. And then, let's see, was there one more? Oh, yeah, the close-up here. All right. I don't know what I'm doing. Is that one of the SWL things? I don't know. All right, enough of that. Talk to you all later on the Old Tube Radio Network. Good night, everybody. Yeah, that's the PK. I've still got that. That's brand new. Let me pull it back down. Forget me. That is the PK232. This is 1987, so I believe this is when this is the year I put up the tower.
Get up and run to the other room.
And I went to the ARR. There it is. I went to the ARRL DX convention. No, not the DX convention. Just the convention. They had it on the West Coast. And I picked up. I think it was like $200. I mean, that's a lot of money for me. I picked up the AEA PK232, and this is when it was AEA, when it was actually the company, and I met. The guy had a 7 call. I met the owner of the company.
Doing whatever they want to do.
And I had purchased that unit there is number 1000. And he actually came over to me, and I don't even think he had seen them. He said, "Can you open the box up?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Hey, that's unit 1000." He says, "These look pretty darn good." So the owner of the company came out and opened the box and congratulated me on buying a PK232. So this has no mods at all. And they still, I don't know if they still sell them, but you can send them back in and have it all tweaked and peaked for the new stuff. Yeah, you can, if you go to QST, you can actually have them updated to all the good stuff. All right. So now I will say good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network. Yeah, it's all SDR and digital, except for Saturday nights, where we go digital, analog, and something else. The Old Tube Radio Network, 73.
Hey, how's it going? Well, hanging in there. How are you doing? I'm just warming up to the radio here, so I might be a little off.
And also